now then.
Hey up.
It's cold.
It's windy.
It's snowy.
It must be February's
Into Wild. Thanks for tuning back in, guys. We are obviously now on episode 3 already. And thank you for more subscriptions, more likes and comments. We're really appreciating it. I'm just really happy that you're enjoying what we're still continuing to do. So in this episode, we are heading a little bit further afield, but we are going to the east coast of Yorkshire to an RSPB reserve called Bempton Cliffs. Now, I am super excited about this one because we are going in the hope of possibly sighting some cetaceans. So we're looking at things like dolphins, whales if we see any, and porpoises.
Porpoises? Porpoises?
Porpoises.
Porpoises. Those.
And we have several species of these across the UK, and we know that Bempton is a really good place to see them from the cliffs looking down. We know we say this every time and we have been successful, but this really is we might not see these animals this time, especially with the weather's looking quite good. However, it's going to be windy, so there's going to be peaks in the sea, which is going to kind of hinder seeing any dorsal fins or anything like that. But we're going to give it its best shot, like we usually do. It's
a bit of a fingers crossed sort of situation, isn't it? No money back guarantees, guys, on the cetaceans. It's not going to be all about cetaceans. Obviously, we're making a trip out to the coast. The coast is an excellent spot for seeing all kinds of wildlife, particularly bird species. Now, it's very early in the year, so no real promises on all sorts of things, but we do know that the gannets have been starting to come back in, so fingers crossed on some gannets, other seabirds and things as well. Fingers crossed for maybe some other bits and pieces as well. So yeah. I'm obviously going to be looking at accessibility for the family side of things as well, so we'll look out for all those sorts of things. And I think that's what we're after, isn't it?
Yeah.
Some nice stuff.
100%. We're also going to, just to maximise our chances, head from Bempton Cliffs to Flamborough, which is not too far at all, and it's also another really good spot to see things like cetaceans and seals as well. We get a lot of seals around there. Yep. So we are hoping, fingers crossed, we're going to come back with something. We don't know if we're going to get cetaceans, but we can only try. Yeah. We will be visiting Bempton Cliffs again, maybe a couple of times, so this will not be the be-all and end-all, and we're hoping to maybe get out on a boat, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I think this time it's going to be a case of sort of duffel coats and scarves and gloves rather than buckets and spades.
Oh, 100%. So...
Okay, shall we head off?
Yeah.
Yep, lovely.
See ya.
See you there. Bye.
On the theme of conservation, and particularly marine conservation, we've brought a pack up today, and I've brought leftover pizza, amazing, but what I've brought it in is a beeswax wrapping, which is great. Conveniently has puffins on as well to symbolise Bempton, but it's great because it's reusable. You just wash it off when you're done, and it's reusable. It says for up until a year, and then it will sort of...
You re-wax it, don't you? You get some wax to re-wax it.
But the main point of this is that it's not a plastic bag, it's not cling film, it's not going to end up in the sea, which we've been really excited about seeing today. All the little marine creatures. So yeah, I highly recommend beeswax wrap. All right.
Cheers.
Hi guys!
Hiya!
We are here at Flamborough Head. We have up to this point spent all our time at RSPB Bempton Cliffs looking for all the wildlife it has to offer at the minute in February. We will go into what we've seen in just a second, but for now Tom's just going to kind of give you a run through of facilities and things that are there.
Yeah, so Bempton, like Rosie says, is a RSPB nature reserve. It's got everything you'd expect. It's got a lovely visitor centre, which has a shop, nice little cafe so you can get back to eat, coffee, tea, sandwiches, juices, that sort of thing. Like I say, a little gift shop, and also facilities, so toilets and baby changing. In terms of accessibility, there is a path that leads, like a footpath, concrete footpath, that leads from the visitor centre down to two of the main platforms. So there are platforms rather than hides that sit out on the cliffs and look out to sea. There's about 5 or 6 hides, platforms I think. 2 of them are definitely accessible by the concrete path, which is really, really good. The other ones are on more scrub paths, so it might be a little bit more difficult if accessing with buggies and wheelchairs and that sort of thing. But no one's going to miss out. There are platforms available for everybody, and the views from there are great. They're really good.
They're really good.
So like Rosie says, we've now arrived at Flamborough Head, and we're going to see what else we can see here, and maybe tell you a bit about the wildlife that we've seen at Bempton earlier on as well.
Absolutely. What we will say as well is that the viewing platforms that are wooden, you will see they are very safe. They're not. They're not just jutting out off the cliff.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, you won't fall off. Don't worry.
Don't worry. Yeah, they're safe. You'll see from the footage.
Yeah.
All right.
Shall we see if we can see some stuff?
Let's go see what we can see.
All right.
Out there. See you soon.
See you in a bit.
So Rosie and I are just out walking along Flamborough Head, and I just thought I'd catch up with you to tell you a little bit about the wildlife, some of the wildlife that we saw up at Bempton. I love my birds, so I'm going to focus mainly on those. Let Rosie tell you about all the other bits and pieces that we saw. So from the first platform that we were looking at, we were hoping to see some of the cetaceans and things like that. There wasn't a great deal going on there bird-wise, so we took a little bit of a trot further along the cliffs to a place called Staple Nook, which is the final platform on the reserve. From there we saw 100 plus gannets. The gannets are all starting to come in now for the breeding season. They're starting to get their really yellow heads, which is fantastic, and they're starting to build their nests. A little bit on the nesting, we have noticed a lot of the gannets, they make their nests out of seaweed, and what we found they're doing is, rather than using seaweed, they are now using an awful lot of fishing nets and plastics, and I think from some of the footage that you'll be able to see, you can see that there. So that's one of the really sad things that we have noticed whilst we've been here. In terms of other species, on the walk across to Staple Nook, we heard the skylarks singing, and we turned around and we could see 2 or 3 skylarks going up doing their mating displays, which was really nice to see, although it's quite early for that to be happening now. I think we've had such a mild winter, things are starting to get into their sort of mating scenarios earlier. Other species, we saw a fulmar, which was really, really nice to see. Lots and lots of rock doves and jackdaws, but I think one of the pinnacles for the birding stuff for me was we saw a pair of peregrines, and they were on a hunting flight. So we saw the male sort of come out from under the cliffs, and he flushed a load of rock doves up, and we saw him go along. Didn't have any success, and off he flew out across the fields. And then no sooner had we stopped looking at him than the female came up, and there she was. She's a much bigger bird, but that really was an absolute treat, something we weren't expecting to see today. So I think we were really chuffed with that, and it certainly means that there's going to be some more stuff to see in the future when we come back in the summertime.
as Tom said, we've seen a lot of bird life on the cliffs at Bempton this morning. What I was really excited and passionate about was the cetaceans that we sort of promised you that we would see. So we said at the start of the video we were hoping to see anything from harbour porpoises, dolphins, maybe even whales. We didn't see whales and we didn't see dolphins, but we did get the harbour porpoise. So this is the smallest of the cetacean family here in the UK, and the adults can literally grow to just over 1.5 meters, which is so small. They're so lovely. So the fact that we could see them, especially with the choppy waves, was just so lovely. What we saw, so we knew they were there because we saw their dorsal fins coming out, and they've got quite a short rounded dorsal fin, and we knew that they come quite close to the shore and they must have been feeding in the area. So initially we saw one, and then we saw a pod of 8 later. I do need to review the footage because I know I definitely have a shot of at least one harbour porpoise, but it's so hard to locate in camera out there. There are no viewing points. Tom could see them, but he just couldn't refer to where they were. So I was really struggling, but I hope I got them. But we do get a lot of other marine life along our coastlines as well. So we mentioned the dolphins. We get both common and bottlenose dolphins that are the sort of the main two that people recognise. But honestly, there's a long list. We get white-beaked dolphin, we get riso dolphin. We get quite a lot. And in terms of whales, we've had the humpback pass through Bempton, which was unreal. We get common minke whales. We get a lot. We even get orca every so often, up mostly in Scotland and Wales way. Our species are threatened. Tom mentioned earlier about the seabirds, their nests being made out of ghost gear and a lot of nettings. Our cetaceans here can get caught in those as well. So we have a huge amount of conservation work to do to protect them. Equally, plastics, we know microplastics and marine plastics are a huge thing at the minute, and trying to reduce our waste that way is going to do these guys out here a massive favour.